Me being a fan of all four rappers, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a challenge. So I said, well, I'm gonna have to do the process of elimination. And I said, okay, well, how am I gonna do that? So I'm like, okay, let me eliminate based on the albums that I bought and I liked it from each artist. What I thought would be a tough decision turned out to be not as much of a challenge as I thought.
This is hip hop album debate. Let's get the conversation going. Ain't no time to waste. Yeah, the podcast that I know you've been wanting. They talking real hip hop. Got everybody talking. Let's go. Yeah, keep it 100 and stay true. Hosted by my homie Q. Tune in and come through. Yeah, this be the spot. The number one place all day. This is hip hop album debate. Let's go. Hey, yeah.
Welcome to Hip Hop Album Debate, the podcast. This your boy Q, and this is episode 44. All right, and this debate topic is: who had the better catalog out of the supergroup Mount Westmore, which consists of Too Short, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, last but not least, that boy E40. All right. But before we get into this debate, you guys be sure to like, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. You know the play. All right. So let's get into this, man. So I was a big fan of all the guys, big fan of West Coast hip hop, grew up in the South. And I think, once the West Coast started dominating, I guess in the early 90s, being from the South, it seems like we kind of we started to gravitate towards the West Coast hip hop, actually a little bit more than the East Coast at that particular time. But we were fans before that because I look at like Too Short and Ice Cube. I became a fan of them around about the same time, late 80s, 87, 88, somewhere in there, because Too Short had Born to Mac. My cousin had that on cassette. And then, of course, NWA was out around about that time as well. So I'm becoming a fan of Too Short and Ice Cube around the same time. Snoop came a little later, obviously. And then the last person I became a fan of was E40, which he's been around. But my first encounter with 40 Water was In a Major Way. That was the first album that I heard of E40, and I was locked in, from that point. And I became a fan of 40 as well as the Click. Hurricane, but you can call it Slurricane. Yeah, I was locked in. So me being a fan of all four rappers, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a challenge. So I said, well, I'm going to have to do the process of elimination. And I said, okay, well, how am I going to do that? So I'm like, okay, let me eliminate based on the albums that I bought and I liked it from each artist. You know what I'm saying? And it really, once I did that, what I thought would be a tough decision turned out to be not as much of a challenge as I thought. And there's no slight to any of the artists. It's just, it made things a whole lot easier for me. And so I'm going to start with E40. E40, I love In a Major Way. I bought that. The Hall of Game album that had the Rapper's Ball Pac was in the video, but it featured Too Short. And the other rappers too was in the video. I guess that's why they call it Rapper's Ball. But KC saw on the hook. It was super dope song, man. The Element of Surprise, I bought that. Charlie Hustle, bought that, and also bought the Click album, the game related album. So I guess you could throw that in there too. Well, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe not. Because then, if that's the case, then with Ice Cube, I got to throw the NWA. Well, you know what? I don't know. Because, I mean, that is a part of their catalog. So, but we'll just stick to the albums right now, just to keep it simple for me. So, all right. Then I go to Ice Cube. America's Most Wanted. Boom. Death Certificate. Boom. The Predator. Lethal Injection. Those 4 albums, solid. Okay, skip the War and Peace album. I don't know why I just didn't really get into that. Laugh Now, Cry Later. I thought that was a super dope reintroduction for Cube. You know, back during that time. I think that album came out in 2006 or 2005. So it was something to see an OG like Cube step back on the scene when at this time you got, you know, crunk music that took over the game, or maybe '06, maybe crunk music was kind of fading out, maybe, and snap music was kind of taking its place. And you had somebody like Q to come in and letting them youngsters know that he still had it. So I like that album. I also rock with Everything's Corrupt. Q stuck to what he knew, his sound. He didn't try to sound like nobody else. It was unfortunate. I don't think that album got a lot of love, but you know, it is what it is. So moving along to Too Short. The album that I like with Too Short, that I rock with heavily. Born to Mac, of course. Life is Too Short, of course. Short Dogs in the House. Get In Where You Fit In. Super dope album. Getting It, album number 10. Probably my favorite Too Short album. Can't Stay Away. Probably an album that I think people probably slept on, but I was happy because if you guys remember, album number 10 was Too Short last album, and he's retiring. And then Can't Stay Away was like the number 45 for him, you know, just in terms of coming out of retirement. So me being a big Too Short fan, I was happy when he, you know, came out with that. So I got a new album, fresh out of retirement. Had to renegotiate. Stakes is getting higher. Man, I was happy. So anyway, never mind, because I'm going down memory lane. So you got that and Blow the Whistle. So that was another album that I rock with real heavily. So, okay. Then it came down to Snoop. And I'm like, okay. Because I thought I was gonna rock with Too Short, because I'm knowing the albums that I like with Short Dog and been rocking with him since Born to Mac, even though he's had albums out before that. But I'm looking at Snoop. Okay, Doggy Style, boom. The Dog Father, he could have kept that, but I bought it and it was decent at the time. The Game's to Be Sold, Not to Be Told. I'm rocking with that because I was a big No Limit fan. Snoop go sign with No Limit. That was equivalent to KD signing with Golden State. So I'm rocking with that. No Limit Top Dog. He still got the No Limit sound, but he's starting to kind of find his groove in terms of making that West Coast sound mesh with that No Limit sound. Then, boom, The Last Meal, Snoop done figured it out. Snoop is Snoop. You know, he on that No Limit tank, but he's still sticking to, I think he figured it out by that time, his third album on No Limit. Then you got Paid the Cost to Be the Boss. Rhythm and Gangster, which I want to debate that album soon. I think that's just a super dope Snoop album that I think when you think of classic albums, you don't really think of that. But you know, I want to debate that album in the future. But you got the Blue Carpet Treatment, Ego Tripping, Never Left. I wasn't impressed with that. Bible of Love. I like the way Snoop stepped out of, you know, what we used to. And he gave us a gospel album, which, you know, he didn't get enough credit. He get criticized for all the negative stuff he does or have done, but nobody give him the credit or even praise for an album like that, a Bible of Love, a real gospel record. You know what I'm saying? So when I looked at it and I'm like, wow, came down to basically Too Short and Snoop Dogg. So it came down to the dogs, Short Dog, Snoop Dogg. I think Snoop had the best catalog. So just based off my preferences, what I've listened to in the past, what I'm rocking with, just on a natural instincts and a lot of albums that I go back to re-listen to. So that's what I had to say. But of course, this is a damn democracy. So with that being said, let's go to the comments and see what the people had to say. And my man Kevo Whittington on Facebook said, a tough one between Cube, Short, and Snoop. Yeah, that's a tough one. So that's our only comment. We didn't have any voice comments. So we're going to go to the poll results and see what the people as a whole had to say. Snoop, 17%. E40, 17%. Mr. What's My Favorite Word, 17%. And that boy O'Shea Jackson, 50%. So the people said Ice Cube had the better catalog out of Mount Westmore. So there you have it. That's what the people had to say. So that's what it is. So this your boy Q. I'm signing off the Hip Hop Album Debate, the podcast. Hey, y'all want to continue this conversation? Let me know. Chime in, leave me a comment, and we'll chop it up. All right? Y'all holler back at your boy. I'm gone. Peace.
Hey.